I saw a beautiful Amplify Orange Z06 with a Z07 carbon fiber package back in August of 2003. Little did I know, I would end up with virtually the identical car on Halloween of 2023 after trading in my 2020 C8 Stingray that I had had for about 2.5 years. In this video, I will be providing you with my first C8 Z06 ownership observations. And know that I've also owned the C8 Stingray, as I mentioned before, a C7, a C6, and a C5. I will go over fuel economy, engine sound, driving experience, washing thoughts, trunk space, and grill guards. Here we go. Welcome to Road Odyssey. Thank you very much for joining me. If you like the videos that I provide, please subscribe. And if you're on Rumble, please follow. Remember, I have my Road Odyssey Facebook page that I update very often. See you there. I'm beginning with my initial driving experience. The first thing that I noticed was the grand and glorious cold start. I thank Ferrari for inspiring GM to copy that sound decades later. Also, thank you to GM for just paying attention in the first place to really what could sell a supercar almost more than anything. Well, the sound. I wonder how many people have bought or have been placed on these waiting lists for the C8 Z06, primarily for that V8 5.5 liter, 670 horsepower, flat plane crank gloriousness. The second most obvious driving experience in the Z06 is the feel. It is so much stiffer. I mean, really a lot stiffer. Yet, the drive is still very nice. It's very comfortable, especially in tour mode. So it's made stiffer in many ways, and this is to be expected being a track-focused car. If you want a soft C8, just stick with the Stingray. For me, the stiffness is not an issue. Getting through the first 500 miles is very uneventful. First off, as you might know, you're rev limited. You're power limited. I mean, you're just completely limited. There's not a lot you can do about it. I enjoyed reaching that first 500 miles while out in the mountains, and it was a very scenic drive, rather slow and easygoing, and getting into that 500 plus mile mark and having the engine wake up a little bit was really fantastic. I could feel more power. You could obviously gain more revs and all that, so that's wide open. But still reaching that 500 mile mark, all those miles before, they're nothing overly noticeable about the car. It's just regular driving. What you will notice in the Z06 from mile 0 till the end of its life is the gas consumption. Yep, it's like that of an old car or truck or any other supercar. I've driven conservatively, and my best range has been between 18 and a little over 20 miles to the gallon, like 20 and a half. I had to drive pretty slow on the back roads or just really smooth and consistent on the highways in order to obtain better fuel consumption. In the grand scheme of things, getting about 17 to 18 miles to the gallon is expected. Although start and stop driving in the city will be pretty bad. I can't speak directly about that yet. Where I live, it's more rural, so I don't have a lot of start and stop action in my area. Other than the Z06 being stiffer and hearing that flat plane crank, the Z06 really is fairly identical to the Stingray when you're just driving in tour mode and cruising around town and out on the highways. The gear shifting is something that you don't feel all that much, again, when you're just cruising around. It is very much like the Stingray. I feel a slight bit of lag engaging in the first gear though, in the Z06, especially when I'm on an incline. Other than that, I really have no differentiation between the Z06 and the Stingray until you get into spirited driving, the curvy mountain and back road driving, track driving, and all that. That's where you're really going to have a noticeable difference. Another common realization is the girth of the Z06. For example, pulling into your garage or backing out of the driveway, it's wide. You might think that 3.6 inches is just a little bit wider. Well, no, it's wider. So it's very easy still to see how to pull into tight spaces, just as it is in the Stingray. No big deal. It just might take a little bit more nerve, getting used to it, especially if you have that Z07 front aero with the dive planes and all that. It's noticeably wider, so you might have to adapt a little bit to that. Now, backing's not so bad. Using the screen is very easy. Me personally, I grew up using the side view mirrors. So I've had to readapt and recalibrate my vision as I look out the left-hand side mirror. I have to nudge closer to the left when backing, because if I don't readjust and get really close to the edge on my left, then I could ultimately be driving right on the edge or off the side of the driveway or whatever it might be on the right-hand side. So be aware of that and, practice a little bit and get used to it. But, ultimately, I think if you're used to driving big pickup trucks or big trucks, fire trucks, whatever, you should be able to get used to this and adapt to this wider body kit and all the aero. Very easy. Washing the Z06. I hand wash my cars. It's a part of my old man exercise routine. Washing the car is easy. The hatchback coupes, in my opinion, require a long arm when you're diving into that engine bay and trying to clean up the air intake or that back window. Or just hopping up in the trunk and getting after it. That's one way of getting around that situation. Now that I have the convertible, I found that cleaning that same area is significantly easier. There is a catch. Literally, water will collect behind the rear window if the car is perfectly level. So be prepared to dry that area a lot more than what you might think. Otherwise, I find that the convertible is a little faster to wash since you don't have to do a deep dive into that rear hatch area and clean all around the edges and water dripping through the side venting of the hatch, all that mess. So anyway, the convertible is a little faster. Another noticeable niceness is the Z06s are going to have the carbon ceramic brakes and carbon rotors. Lot less brake dust. My C8 Stingray was terrible with brake dust to the point that, I wouldn't wash the wheels but maybe every third or fourth time. And I guess when it comes to car washing, I'm not a car show person and I'm just not a show off to begin with. So washing the wheels is just not something that I really care about that much. I just don't like it. Not one of my deals. So having ceramics is just wonderful. So this is something you will really, really like. No matter whether you put your car in shows or not. Next topic is trunk space. And regardless as to whether or not you have the C8 Stingray or the Z06, that rear trunk space gets warm. If you have any perishables or waxy resin-like items that could melt when left in there while you're driving for several hours, don't put them there. Put them in the front trunk or the frunk. Now that I have a convertible or the HTC, I've lost some of my rear trunk space. Luckily, my wife and I don't often use the C8 for long trips, and we do not go on trips with a ton of luggage. We are very light travelers, so the rear trunk space for us still plenty good. So if you can travel fairly light and divvy up your items between the more narrowed trunk space of the convertible in the back and that front trunk or front, you're going to be perfectly fine. No worries there. Still a great amount of trunk space, especially when you're comparing it to other supercars. My last topic regards grill guards. Now, in the past, I made at least 3 videos about the importance of grill guards. They are hugely important to me. I don't want to see the front grills, the condensers, the radiators, any of that stuff get badly damaged by rocks and debris. Now, I have marginally investigated grill guards for the Z06, but I tell you, this is an important topic. I just don't want to have a big rock go through a radiator and really damage any of these very expensive cars. So this is a much needed item. If you buy your C8 from the dealership, see if you have, in terms of the Z06s, any reward points that translate into good cash. For the Z06, you should have a few $1,000s of value like I do with my dealership. I can use that money to get grill guards and have them installed. So you might consider this option as well. My last hurrah is a shout out to Tim, my salesperson at Holiday Chevrolet in Whitesboro, Texas, a fantastic dealership. They provided me with, hands down, probably one of the best Z06 deals I could ever have imagined. And I also want to give a nice shout out to Joel, the assistant service manager. He has been fantastic. They do have a very well-qualified, certified Corvette, C8 Corvette technician. The gentleman is stupendous. I really like all of these people there at Holiday Chevrolet. They have been great. Thank you very much. I also want to thank each and every one of you for watching this video. Y'all are great. If you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe. I appreciate that very much. If you're on Rumble, please follow. And remember, I have my Facebook page, of which you can see what's going on in my Corvette life and car life on almost a daily basis. So with that, please relax, take it easy, and I will see you later. Bye.